So this week, my Artisan Hien arrived in the mail, and we saw some huge improvements that I was definitely not expecting from just changing a mouse pad. I played the fundamentals 4 times this week while I wasn't streaming, just to get used to the mouse pad, and I don't think I saw any improvements in any scores at all. It seems like we finally broke through that barrier on Sunday night, and this is how we did. Smoothness is always up and down for me most weeks, but this week was surprisingly consistent. We saw Thingaunt getting an improvement of 1 mega point, but we did see Bounce 360 Ti getting a pretty significant improvement in this category, and it is the most improved in this category for the week. Our reactive tracking this week was pretty consistent. Ground Plaza saw no improvements, but very consistent scores, and the biggest standout we saw this week was close fast strafes. My previous personal score was, I believe, somewhere between 7.3 thousand and 7.5. I believe 1.5 was the gap that we had between our new personal best and the previous one. But then in the very next run after that, we saw 9.4 thousand points. Within 2 runs, we improved by over 2,000 points. That is mind-blowing. Every scenario in dynamic clicking got a new personal best this week. Popgon saw a very small increase from, I believe, 180 to 190. Passio also got a new high score, but that was also pretty negligible. And Tam Speed was the best in category this week for dynamic clicking, getting a 10-point increase over the previous personal best. Unfortunately this week, Static was the big one that let us down. We didn't see any new personal bests across the board. What we did see from Static though was very, very consistent scores. As we have seen in the past few weeks, focusing mostly on the accuracy side of things has brought my consistency up considerably. So I expect to see some new scores in that in the coming weeks. Another minor letdown this week was target switching. We saw some very good scores, but unfortunately not getting any personal bests. But there was some very, very close shaves though. This is a long list of improvements, and I don't want to read every score out because that gets boring for you guys. What I'm going to do is point out the bigger jumps instead of focusing on the small ones, but just know we got a lot of platinum scores this week. 1 Wall 4 targets going from 97 points to 100 points, that's 1 platinum score. 6 Fear Hip 5 Volte going from 125 points to 133, that's number 2. Fugler XYZ going from 10,200 points to 12,130 points, that's number 3. Psalm TS Voltaic Easy going from 75 points to 81.2 points. That's number 4. Bounce 180 Tracking Voltaic Easy from 64 points to 69.2 points. That's 5. But the kicker for this week, and the best improved score we had, was Vox target switching. Vox target switching went from 101 points, which is a platinum score, to 109.3 points, just inching over to our first ever diamond score. This week's scores to reach platinum 2 means that we only need to get platinum on 2 more scenarios, 1 dynamic clicking and 1 precise tracking. But it also means that we are now 5 scenarios away from platinum complete. As you can probably tell, I'm pretty excited with the improvement that we had this week, and I hope it continues into the coming weeks. I do expect next week to be pretty quiet in terms of personal bests, but I do think if we focus on working on consistency next week, it'll be just fine. But I do hope we still see steady improvement in the coming weeks, just like we did last week.